You know that specific kind of exhaustion? The one that comes from editing video.
Oh, the Sunday night dread. I know it well.
Exactly. The Sunday night dread. You spend an entire weekend, you're fighting with clips, trying to match audio.
And you end up with what, like a minute and a half of usable footage?
If you're lucky, it's heavy. It's the friction.
It is. It's the friction of the tools getting in the way of the actual idea.
And that friction is, what usually kills the idea before it even gets a chance to breathe.
Mm.
But I've been reading about this concept. It's called the speed gap.
Right.
It's this massive divide between that old manual way, the agonizing weekend edit, and this new standard that's, it's quietly taking over.
And we're not talking about just making things a little bit faster.
No, not 10% faster. We're talking about automating 50 consistent scenes in just minutes.
It's a total collapse of the production timeline. And the craziest part about this speed gap,
Go on.
the bridge to cross it costs exactly $0.
That's the hook. And that's what we're doing today on the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
We are unpacking a roadmap for what's being called the 2026 Free Stack.
Yeah.
It's a guide on building a professional AI video production system, an actual assembly line, from just a text prompt to a finished movie.
And we should be really clear here. This is not about just typing "make me a video" into a chatbot.
No, that doesn't work.
It never works. This is about chaining together 5 very specific free tools. We're talking ChatGPT, a Chrome extension called Whisk, Google AI Studio, Grok, and CapCut.
It sounds like a Frankenstein's monster.
It is a bit of a Frankenstein, but when you see how they all lock together, you realize, this is the difference between an amateur messing with tech and a producer building an actual workflow.
Okay, so let's walk through this factory floor. It's a 7-step process, and it starts where every movie starts.
The script.
The script. And usually for me, when I try to get AI to write a script, it just feels so generic.
Hollow. Like plastic. Yeah, it gives you that bland corporate AI voice. The guide we're looking at attacks that blank page problem in a different way. It doesn't just ask for a story.
What does it do?
It uses this rigorous persona switching strategy. It treats the AI like a specialized employee you can hire and fire.
Okay, explain that. Because most people just dump a paragraph into ChatGPT. You gotta hope for the best.
And you get garbage if you do that. So step 1. You don't ask for a video script. You tell ChatGPT you are a professional children's author.
Oh.
You give it rules, human characters, 1 animal, inspirational, no dialogue. You get the story first.
So you lock in the narrative structure before you even think about the visuals. That makes a lot of sense.
Precisely. But here's the technical pivot, and this is where most people fail. You don't take that story and just paste it into an image generator.
You have to clean the data.
You have to. You go back to ChatGPT and you say, okay, now switch hats. You are an experienced animation director.
I like that. You're firing the author and hiring a director for the next task.
You are. And you tell it to break that story down into 20 storyboard scenes. But the prompt engineering here is very, very strict.
Well, so?
The output has to separate the narration, what the audience is going to hear, from the image prompt, what the AI needs to see.
Why is that separation so critical for the system? Can't you just describe the scene?
Well, if you mix them, the image generator gets confused. It sees the emotional language of the story and doesn't know what to do. You need the image prompt to be cold, descriptive data like Disney Pixar-style, wide shot, warm lighting.
I see. Completely distinct from the narration.
Totally. And then there's a third little step in the scripting phase, the extraction.
Right.
This is pure data prep. You tell the AI to strip away everything else, see numbers, headers, all of it, and just give you the raw visual descriptions, each one separated by a blank line.
It feels less like writing at that point and more like, coding. You're just preparing the raw material.
That's exactly what it is.
So why is that formatting, that separation of the prompts, so critical?
Clean data allows the Whisk tool to read distinct instructions without any manual tagging.
Okay, which brings us to the engine room. Step 2, bulk velocity. This is where we stop making images one by one.
Yeah. This is where Whisk comes in.
Tell me about this tool.
This is what really creates that speed gap we were talking about. Whisk is a Chrome extension, and it just sits right on top of Google Whisk.
And Google Whisk is the actual image generation engine.
That's right, and it's free currently. The quality is surprisingly high, too, if you use the settings from the Guide English version 7.6.0, aspect ratio 16.9.
It's pretty standard stuff.
Very standard, but the extension is the absolute game changer.
Because it automates all the clicking.
It automates the entire batch. You take those 20 clean prompts you extracted, you paste them all into the extension at once, and you just hit start.
And it does the rest.
The extension sees the line breaks, it feeds them into the engine one by one, generates the image, and then downloads it straight to your hard drive.
I actually laughed when I read the warning in the source material for this step. It says, very strictly, don't touch your mouse.
It's serious. The extension is literally simulating you clicking and typing. It's kind of hijacking your cursor.
So if you tab away to check an email or something.
You break the loop. You have to just sit there and watch the little file count go up in your download folder. It's kind of mesmerizing.
It's a funny image, surrendering control of your computer to gain all this speed. But this is where the guide introduces a huge problem.
A critical problem.
You have a speed, you've got 20 beautiful images, but they don't look like they belong in the same movie.
The consistency problem. This is the bane of AI video.
Right.
In scene 1, your main character is a boy in a blue hoodie. Scene 2, the AI decides he's wearing a red jacket. Scene 3, he's suddenly Asian. Scene 4, he's a cartoon. It's just chaos.
It's the hallmark of what people call AI slop. It looks like a fever dream.
It does. The AI has no object permanence. It has no memory of who the character was 5 seconds ago.
So speed without control creates chaos. What is the missing variable here?
A reference image. Without it, the AI hallucinates a new protagonist every single time.
And this brings us to what the guide calls the secret sauce. It's step 3. And honestly, this feels like the most vital part of the entire workflow.
It really is. This is the barrier between amateur slop and professional storytelling.
So before you run that bulk batch, you have to create a reference anchor.
You do. And the fix is actually pretty clever. You go back to ChatGPT again.
Okay.
And you ask it to generate a character prompt, but specifically on a white background.
White background, why?
It isolates the features. It tells the AI, focus only on the face, the clothes, the identity of this character. You generate just one good image of, say, Mila or the brown dog.
So you're creating your cast's headshots, essentially.
That's a perfect analogy. You download this. Now you go back to the Auto Whisk extension, but this time, before you paste in your 20 scene prompts.
Let me guess. There's a button.
There's a reference image option. You click it, you upload that file of Mila, you're telling the system, this is Mila, then you run the bulk generation.
So you are anchoring the AI's imagination. You're saying, paint whatever scene you want, but the person in the middle has to look like this.
Precisely. The AI forces every new scene to match that uploaded face and visual identity. It connects the dots for you.
It feels like anchoring the AI's imagination. How much time does this step add?
It adds about 15 minutes, but it's the difference between amateur slop and professional storytelling.
15 minutes to say the soul of the story. I think that's a trade-off most of us would take. Okay, so visuals are locked, but video is 50% audio. And there is nothing worse than that robotic, glitchy AI voice.
Or the one that sounds like a GPS trying to read a bedtime story. It's awful.
The guide pivots here to Google AI Studio, specifically using their Gemini model.
Okay, why this tool? I mean, there are a million voice generators out there. A few reasons. First, it's free. No credit limits, which is huge when you're just trying things out. But technically, the big advantage is it supports long-form text.
So you can paste the whole story in at once.
The entire thing. And the quality is surprisingly high. The guide recommends the Gemini 2.5 Flash Preview TTS model and a voice called Enceladus.
Enceladus?
Yeah, it's described as warm and friendly, but the real trick is the style instruction. You actually type into the prompt, read the story aloud using a warm, gentle, and engaging storytelling voice appropriate for children.
You're directing the actor, not just the software.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
because you generate it all in one go, you get a single audio track.
Why is generating the full narrative at once better than scene-by-scene audio?
It maintains natural pacing and emotional continuity, avoiding that disjointed, choppy AI sound.
Okay, let's just unpack where we are. We have consistent images, we have a warm, flowing voiceover, but we still have basically a slideshow.
Right. It's a series of still images, and static images are boring.
To compete in 2026, you need motion.
For sure. This is where we bring in Grok, specifically their Imagine feature, to add that life.
This is step 6 in the guide, breathing life.
Yeah.
But it's not just hitting a button that says animate, is it?
No, and that is a really important distinction. If you just let the AI guess, you get weird warping or these random nauseating zooms.
So you need control.
You need control. The system here relies on a control mechanism. The source mentions having a text file with about 38 specific cinematic camera techniques.
Like pan left, dolly zoom, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So you go back to ChatGPT briefly. You ask it to look at your script and assign a camera movement to each scene based on the emotion.
So a sad scene gets a slow zoom, an action scene gets a quick pan.
You got it. Then you take those instructions over to Grok, but, and this is a big but, the guide points out a very specific setting you have to change first.
What is it?
You have to go to your profile, then settings, then behavior, and you have to turn off, enable automatic video generation.
Wait, why would you turn off the automation? Isn't that the whole point?
That's the pro move. By turning off the automation, you regain the ability to paste in your specific command. You drag in your image, you paste the movement prompt, slow zoom in on the character's face, and then you generate.
We are injecting human intent back into the machine here. What is the result?
It stops looking like a slideshow and starts looking like a movie with intentional direction.
So we have all the pieces. The animated clips, the audio. Now comes the assembly line. Steps 5 and 7 in the guide kind of merge here in the editing workflow.
Yeah, this is where it all comes together in CapCut. And the workflow is, again, designed for speed. It uses a two-pass system.
A two-pass system. How does that work?
First pass, you don't even wait for the videos to finish generating. You just drag your audio track and all your still images into the timeline.
Okay.
You sync them up. You listen to the narration, find the end of a sentence, and you snap the next image to it. You build the whole rhythm of the video with just the stills.
That makes sense. It's much faster to edit photos than video files.
So much faster. Then, once your Grok videos are ready, you do the swap.
The swap.
You just right-click the still image in your timeline, you choose Replace Clip, and you select the animated video file. It keeps the timing, it keeps the transitions, but it just upgrades the visual from a photo to a movie.
I have to admit something here.
Yeah.
Reading through this whole process, I thought, this is amazing. But I also know myself. I know that if I were doing this, I'd get lazy. I'd see a generated clip that was just okay. Maybe the character's eye is a little wonky, and I'd be tempted to just leave it. I still wrestle with that prompt drift myself.
You and everyone else. And the source actually calls this out in the quality control section. It's like the vulnerable admission of the whole system.
Right.
It says even with all this automation, if you skip the manual review, you break the spell.
It says specifically, do not trust the system blindly.
Exactly. If an image is off, you have to go back and regenerate just that one.
That's the discipline, isn't it? The tools remove the manual labor, but they can't remove the need for good taste.
They can't. You have to be the final curator, because if you let a glitchy face slide, the audience immediately clocks it. They know it's low-effort junk.
So the human role shifts from maker to editor. What happens if you skip the review?
You lose trust. Small glitches compound, and the audience immediately senses it's low-effort junk.
We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to look at the big picture, what this whole speed gap really means for the future of creativity. Mid-roll, sponsor, placeholder. Okay, let's recap this stack because it is a lot of moving parts, but they do fit together so beautifully.
They really do. Think of it like a relay race.
Okay.
First, ChatGPT handles the structure. It gives you the story and those clean, separated prompts.
Right, the raw material.
Then the baton goes to Auto Whisk and Google Whisk. They handle the bulk visuals, and you use those reference images to keep the characters consistent.
Got it. Then audio.
Third is Gemini AI Studio, which gives us that warm single-track voiceover. Fourth, Grok takes those still images and adds that controlled cinematic motion.
And then finally, CapCut.
And finally, CapCut is where you assemble it all and do that quick swap workflow.
It's an impressive system.
Yeah.
But I want to zoom out to the big idea here. The guide starts by talking about the speed gap.
It's a powerful concept.
It is. The idea is that the barrier to entry for making video has basically dropped to $0. Anyone can get these tools.
Right.
But the barrier to quality has shifted. It's no longer about who has the most expensive camera or software.
It's about who has the best process, the best system.
Exactly. The winners aren't going to be the ones who just use AI. Everybody's going to use AI.
The winners are the ones who build a system like this that allows them to fail faster and succeed more often.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you can make a pretty good video in 15 minutes, you can afford to make 5 bad ones to find that one great one. That is a luxury you just don't have when one video takes you an entire week.
It changes the economics of creativity itself. You're not so precious about the output anymore.
No, you're focused on the pipeline, and that pipeline is what lets you actually tell stories instead of just, managing files all day.
So here is the challenge for you listening. Don't try to build the whole Hollywood studio today.
No, start small.
Just install the Auto Whisk extension. That's it. Generate one story script using that specific 3-prompt structure we talked about.
Don't overthink it. Just start the system. Watch the files download. See that magic moment for yourself.
And here's a thought to leave you with. If you can produce 10 professional-looking videos in the time it used to take to make just one, what happens to the value of the video itself? Does scarcity even matter anymore, or is it now finally all about the story?
That is the question.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you in the next one.